Hey guys, it's Milesh. Welcome back to the Mimi Cast. Now, you may have noticed Mia didn't say anything. That's because she's not here for this episode. We're having a special episode again where I get to talk to one of my good friends, Mr. Roger.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry, Mia can't be here. Have to, you
Mm-hmm. But, Roger's one of my good friends. He's never actually been on the Mimi Cast, so this is actually his first appearance. Hopefully, we'll see more of him in the future. I think we might do a hentai episode together. That should be fun. Um, But for today's episode, we're going to talk about something that we both really love as an anime, and that's Monogatari, the series. So we're talking about the Bakemonos, the Nisemonos, the
Yes.
Nekomonos. So it's, both of us have it in our like top 10 anime of all time list, and it's a series that, I think for both of us really holds a special place in our hearts, wouldn't you say?
yeah, for sure. Like, it's kind of like the kind of show or really series that kind of just sticks with you more and more because it's just a show about understanding people overall, just in a nutshell. So pretty much the more you rewatch it, the more
You
you
get it.
just go on through life. You kind of just get a new perspective, and
Hmm.
I think rewatching it has been one of the most blessed decisions I can think of recently.
Yeah, kind of like our first topic we're going to get into is really how we got into Monogatari. I'll start off first, why not?
Hmm.
And kind of how I ended up getting into it was during Monogatari second season came out, what, 2015, 16?
I think it was like early 2013. I think.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, because I guess the Kizu movies came out 2015-ish.
The Kizu movies? Yeah, it was like interspaced over 3 years. So I think it was 2016, 17, and 18.
Yeah. So right before second season aired is when I got to Monogatari. I think I had Bakemono on my plan on watch list for a while, and I was just kind of trying to see what the new anime I was gonna watch during that time was, and I ended up going with Bakemonogatari. And I remember like the first scene of the first episode of Bakemonogatari like always is like just stuck in my mind where you see Hanakawa's panties and Araragi just looking like staring at her, and like that entire sequence is like it was so memorable because it's the way we're gonna kind of get into this later, the way like Shaft kind of portrayed that moment in such a cinematic way. I just hadn't seen it that kind of style in many anime before, and like I said, this is like what Roger's like around 2013-14 era where I was only into anime for probably about a year or two, and I'm still kind of getting my feet wet in the medium.
Mm.
So Bakemonogatari was just kind of like this insane story that I was watching, and I remember thinking, wait, what are these like little car things that are happening? They have like text on them. Do I have to pay attention to that? And it was just so different because it's one of the most unique watching experiences you can have. And kind of like after watching Bakemono, I was like, well, gotta get more. And then I binged the rest of the series and really liked it. And then basically when second season aired, I remember watching it, loving it, and then I just became a Monogatari head at that point. How about for you, buddy?
Yeah, so for me, I started watching anime around 2014, 2015. I'd say Monogatari was one of the first shows maybe I watched. Maybe our first 20, 50 at worst. Nonetheless, I was still new to the medium, so, you're kind of watching the more popular ones like Sword Art Online, Attack on Titan, and I'm just still in that mainstream phase.
Cowboy
So
Bebop.
watching, huh?
Cowboy Bebop.
Actually, yeah, that too. And so you have Monogatari, and yeah, that's kind of, as you'd imagine if you're familiar with the series, kind of a huge
It,
difference. It's something. My first watch of it, I kind of didn't really get it as much as I thought I would. Like, I knew this series has a fairly niche popularity, maybe not so much these days, but yeah, watching it was, obviously bizarre, because I don't think I've seen very many harem shows, so I can't really draw comparisons to that either. But when I watched Monogatari, it didn't even feel like a harem show. It's just really a story strictly about people, which I thought was pretty unique. That being said,
Is it because Monogatari means story?
why yes, if you figured it out, like, Bake means monster, so I was like, whoa, cool, monster story. That's how you already know that this show is gonna be full of witty dialogue, which I was not prepared for at the time. Um, I maybe like most other anime fans tend to have a attention span of a goldfish, so a lot of episodes, maybe pretty much all of them, they're just kind of flashing about title cards, just lots of dialogue depth, just a kind of a lot to take in. So you really kind of have to be in the not your best mindset, but at least in the mindset to just pay attention. And I don't think I was at my best at the time. Like I still got the gist of it, like the characters and their interactions, the whole general gist, and the themes of it. But I think my first watch of Vake, I think I had it around like I thought it was a solid show. Gave it around like maybe a 7 or so, and I thought I'd just keep watching from there. So that's at least my intro into it. I thought it was kind of just a decent show until I rewatched it.
Yeah, because I know we both were kind of like on the train of watching it as the new seasons were coming out, and then I stopped right when Owari season 2 was airing. I didn't watch that when it came out, and I didn't watch Koyomi either, or I didn't even watch the Kizu movies.
Yeah.
So I just stopped watching, and it was kind of like, okay, I knew from the light novels that there was kind of going to be an ending eventually. Um, and then like this year in like what summertime, springtime, me and Roger was like rewatching. I was like, "Fuck, man, I'll watch it too then." And so it was really fun rewatching it because, like Roger was saying, it's definitely hard to get all you. Monogatari is definitely a work where there's a lot of value in rewatching it because there's a lot to take in general, and you can take it at face value like how me and Roger did. But once you kind of watch it again, you kind of see the more subtleties with a lot of its characters and development. It becomes so much more fun to rewatch it, and really just going through it again, I really loved everything, and even put some like new perspective on things. Like I remember, like Nisei. I remember a lot of people didn't like Nisei that much in the anime community when I first was watching it, and I was like, "Why don't people like Nisei, man? What's going on here, guys?" And then watching it, I was like, "Oh, I liked Nisei, but there's definitely issues with it. I can see why." And something like Bake was so praised. I was like, "Why do people like Bake so much? It's overrated." And then watching, I was like, "Oh, never mind. I'm capping myself. It's really good." And it was even a pleasure because me and Roger kind of both watched in the same order, where we did pretty much release order for the television, like broadcasting, but we watched Kizu right before what second season.
Yeah.
So that was really fun for me because I never had seen any of the movies ever. So it was really great just to binge all three of them. And Kizu just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I was not expecting that, right? And kind of just from there, like finishing Owari season 2, finishing Zoko Owari, I was just like, this is go. Like this is so good. Like I couldn't believe it. And we're gonna get into it pretty soon. That's like what makes a series special. But did you want to talk about your watching experience a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, just going a little more into just watching Monogatari later on. Pretty much, again, on first watch at face value, I thought it was a pretty solid series. I think my favorite season was second season.
And it is kind of cheating when we say second season because unlike the others that are adapted from it, second season in the light novels is literally all the stories that's considered the second season. Stuff like Baki and Nisei were part of like the first season along with Neko Koro. So it's kind of almost cheating when you say second season because it's almost unfair because if it would have gotten adapted not in second season, it would have been like the actual titles of them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I do agree with Roger. It's the best season.
Yeah, so it was definitely the one I was most looking forward to and rewatching. Like we're gonna rank the arcs later, but pretty much just going after Bake. You know, actually wait, on top of my rewatch. So starting again with Bake, I start to see a lot more of the character depth, but I'm also appreciate the direction a lot more because when I first watched it, my eyes were just kind of
Getting
taken
used to
aback by or getting adjusted to it. But now it's like I can just really appreciate it all in its peak performance, and it's just a beautiful, just well directed. Like it definitely jumped my score up by like 1 or 2 points. It's just great.
Yeah, and something that you notice too. Like I remember, I think as anime fans as a whole, for anything that you watch, like the more technical aspects, like the directing, is something that you become more used to as you get more familiar with the medium. So that's something I noticed too about Baki. Like the directing was so impeccable, and it was weird going from that directing to like Nisei directing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Going from that to Nisei is always gonna be quite something. I mean, I've also garnered much more appreciation for Nisei too. Like, I think Karen B was one of probably my least favorite arc. Now it's not as much. I've begun to appreciate that one a little more. So there's just again a lot of perspectives that kind of just change when you rewatch the most notable ones or the biggest change. Like at first I didn't like what's it called, Neko Monogatari.
Which one, Kuro?
Yeah, Kuro, Black Hanekawa. I don't know. I guess I wasn't very smart back then. Because I didn't really appreciate Hanekawa's character.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely overlooked quite a few
Well,
things.
I think it also helped though, because
Well, at least in my perspective back then, it was like I didn't understand why she was getting so much screen time. I kind of just wanted to get to the other characters. But, now that I was rewatching Bake, it's like, wow, Tsubasa Cat, really, really good arc. So now I'm looking a lot more forward to Neko Monogatari, and then it kind of just hit me. It's like, wow, yeah.
Well, because didn't we watch Kizu before Neko Koro? Am I crazy thinking that? Or did we watch Koro first and then Kizu?
Oh, crud. I kind of forgot the watch order now.
Because obviously, release-wise, Koro came out before Kizu did. But I think, didn't you say, like, there's a lot of things you can get from watching Kizu?
Oh, no.
No, we watched Kizu right after Bake.
Yeah.
Because Nisei we understood because of the stuff that, like, guys like...
Yeah, we did Bake, then Kizu. Yeah, I don't know what happened
That's
there.
why I was like, we watched it smartly. Yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I like Neko Koro a lot too more, but I was like, I think a lot of my reason for liking it more was because we watched Kizu.
Yeah, it's just two different contexts. It works for people both ways, so
Yeah, because we both watched it both ways.
yeah. So there's always the biggest arguments with Monogatari release orders. So
We might get into that. We might dabble in the what's the watch order.
yeah, and honestly, I don't think we can come to a definitive answer. But we'll
I think
see.
you can. I don't think it's hard.
We'll see.
But yeah, you're talking about your rewatch.
Yeah.
And getting to the Koro and stuff.
Yeah, again, my appreciation for Neko Kuro definitely jumped up, like, a lot, especially now that I've begun to enjoy Hanekawa's character. I think she's...
Queen?
Yep, she's my personal favorite female girl in the show, so, we'll get into maybe favorite characters later, but she's definitely the strongest in my opinion. I also love Oshino Meimei.
You mean meme?
Yes.
They don't say meme. Oh, okay. Let's say the show they call him meme.
Are you serious?
Yes, they don't say Mei Mei.
Oh, okay. Alright, okay, I'd have to rewatch then. That's crazy. But just like little quotes like, oh, you know, only the person can like save themselves, like that kind of stuff. You know, kind of just hits.
I just know
Other
what I
things.
know.
Other ones like what's it called? I've garnered a lot more appreciation for Hana Monogatari. Before I was just, I don't like you saying this, but I got bored out of my mind. But now that I was in a fresher mindset, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
get it now.
You get it? It's in the future, right? Do you understand?
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of also like it for the smaller things, like just seeing Araragi at the end just puts a lot of things into perspective as well.
Bad haircut though.
Yeah, that was him at his
That was
lowest.
kind of cringe.
Very cringe. Yeah, and then you know, again, Monogatari second season, I think it's just like peak. And then I just actually finished Zoku Owari Monogatari not too long ago, so that was kind of just the perfect closer. Again, we won't get back to that when you rank the arcs, but yeah, that's pretty much my rewatch.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into like what makes a series special, and I figured, you know, I have some things I want to say about it, and I'll bounce off with Roger. So I think, you know, when you kind of think about Monogatari, like for me personally, the things that really make it special, and you know, it's the Brown Brothers show. It's like the dialogue and the characters, right?
Yeah,
It's like there, you know, when you watch a lot of anime, you expect there to be, you know, dialogue because every show you watch will have that, right? But you know, in some shows you can just put it in the background and not really pay attention to the dialogue because it's like Black Clover, right? Asa's saying, "I'm gonna fight the bad guy." Okay, we get it. There's not much nuance there, but with Monogatari, like almost every conversation the show has, in the conversations with these characters, like Araki can talk to someone for like literally 10 minutes of the show, and you're kind of like, he just had one conversation though. Like, wait, what? And but like that 10-minute conversation is very enthralling. Like, there's so much going on. There's so much back and forth, and there's so much that each conversation reveals about the characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite things of seeing Monogatari is that Aragi's a character is so perfect for the lead role, where he's this, you know, somewhat eccentric high schooler that has this kind of hero-ish kind of motive of mindset of right trying to like help people be selfless, and you kind of see from Kizu, when we'll talk more about Kizu later, just like how he became that. And so him being the main character of the show, where the kind of like the premise, if you haven't watched it yet, it's kind of weird, is this, you know, he's pretty much going around his town that he's in helping the problems that his friends have. And these problems are usually supernatural related, and he has to kind of figure like, okay, this person has this curse, how do I do this? But there's a lot of conversation because all of, like the curses themselves are kind of somewhat based on the characters too, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like that, when you have that combo of like you have like, this great main character in Araragi who is willing to kind of do anything for his friends, and also just kind of like the audience is kind of ignorant on a lot of things, so it gives him a good reason to ask these type of questions and really gauge like, you know, what kind of person are you. And it's again, like I said, like the man has conversations that last like 10-20 minutes an episode, but it doesn't matter because it's super fun and engaging to listen to. And you know, the characters themselves are just super memorable. Like I talked about Aragi, the main character, just GOAT, King, whatever you want to call him. One of my favorite main characters, probably. Like, he's probably in my top 3, top 5 main characters of all time, honestly. I just really love him. And then you have, like, guys like Roger, like Hanakawa, who is this, like, wonderful, you know, character of, like, she's almost, in a weird way in this series, she's kind of like, I would say, maybe, like, kind of like the childhood best friend arc, kind of, in terms of just being there in the beginning, kind of like the main character, and kind of also getting cucked by the main character, right?
Yeah.
But she's like the perfect example of that kind of trope-ish. It's not she's not actually his childhood best friend, but there's a lot of similarities there. And she's also this really great character finding sort of like this value in herself and really speaking her mind. And you see her arc, like she gets a lot of arcs in the series, and all of them are just bangers. Senju Gahara is like the perfect love interest for Araragi. She's a great character who she's a very fascinating character because since she is like the first arc in the series in Bakemono, a lot of her like future interactions with Araragi are very compelling to me because this is like the only character Araragi could talk to where he doesn't have to worry about there being a problem with that person per se. And he's able to kind of unload and he's always himself, but like he's like the most true with Senju. And he's also able to relax a bit more and just kind of be like a regular high schooler, which I think is it's a very good dynamic that Nisho Ishin did with Senju and Araragi being together.
Yeah.
And I got to about my actual king in the show, Kaiki. I love that, man. I loved him when I first watched it, and watching it the second, I was like, Kaiki's still the GOAT. And, just he's such a fascinating, he's such a great foil to Araragi, right? Like, the selfish guy that saves people, but does it for money, right? But in the grand scheme of things, though, he's also just a good guy in the bottom of his heart. He's kind of afraid of exposing it too much.
Yeah.
And which makes him a really smart character because it kind of shows Araragi like how he could end up in a weird way if Araragi lets this kind of good guy personality be vulnerable. Maybe someone takes advantage of it. So that's why Kaiki's is funny and man, when we get to second season, all I'm gonna talk about is the king and that part. And like the supporting cast, the other characters are all memorable and great. Like the weakest character in Monogatari is better than any character in Bleach.
Yeah.
So like even like most shonens, I would even say, I just feel like there's so much tender loving care that each supporting character gets, and they all have an important role to Araragi, which is why he's kind of like the key to the series. I have a couple more, but I'm gonna let Roger. You can spill some knowledge if you want.
I feel like I kind of said some of my thoughts on what makes the series special on my intro, because really it kind of just coincides. But yeah, I kind of have to just flow off of what Milesh said here. I mean, in terms of the dialogue, it's just so very natural and free-flowing. So again, it's only because someone like Araragi is the main character. It's really just kind of nice and wholesome how he can just talk to each and every one of these girls, and it's it's just nice and free-flowing.
Would you say it hits different?
Yes, it's kind of like in a league of its own. It's quite clear of its own genre. You can't even put it in a genre per se. It's like if you had to put Monogatari in like a genre, it's like what would you say? It's like not.
It's a slice. Like, you could say it would just be a slice of life.
Yeah,
a slice of life in drama.
Okay, I think drama fits well. Maybe supernatural, but
I mean definitely supernatural. We saw Suki. We saw Kizu.
Oh, yeah, yes. Kizu is definitely the epitome of all this. Another thing I enjoy about the series is kind of just... actually, hold on. One more point about the dialogue is... Yeah, it kind of shows how close he is with all these... With all the characters around him. He can just, say whatever. Like, for example, in Nisei, it's... Karen B is one of the arcs that throws people off because they're kind of just... Most people are kind of just expecting, the conflict to be resolved in like the usual 2-3 episode fashion, but really Araragi is kind of just BSing around, meandering for like 5 episodes straight, and it's quite hilarious.
Because it's only 11 episodes, but it ends because it's like a little in between, right? Between Phoenix and B. Because B isn't 6 episodes. I mean, Phoenix isn't 6 episodes.
Phoenix was like 4 episodes, and yeah.
Because technically because the first 2 episodes of Nisei are Senju focused.
Yeah, I guess so. But you know, it's still
Because
part of like the
because the
arc.
opening doesn't happen until like what episode 3.
I guess.
I mean that's a good way to indicate when an arc is starting though.
Yeah, true. And Nisei is so weird. I mean, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I guess my other point was gonna be I kind of like how Monogatari. I hate this word. Subverts a lot of the kind of just the usual tropes you'd see. Like you know, when you think harm is like you're usually like, oh no, it's gonna be
Generic.
well, not just generic, but it's like
Gonna have like that trashy kind of
yeah, I can't wait to meander around.
choose
Oh,
a best girl.
who's he gonna pick?
Is
You
he gonna
know,
pick my girl?
I mean, Monogatari shit gets settled out in like what 4 episodes.
Yeah. My king?
Yeah, man.
That's why I was. That's why it was funny because I remember when you first called. Like in my entire life, I never considered when I got to a harem, or at least thought of it as one. And then when you brought it up, because you said it before, and I was like, when I got to a harem, it didn't click with my mind because, you know, I agree with your points because I can see why people would say it is one. But to me, it was so strange because I feel a lot of like what harem is about is like the waifu wars and stuff, or the husbando wars, right?
Yeah.
Monogatari, Bakemono literally starts off with him saving Senju and then them dating like midway through the season, right? So it's kind of like he never cheats on her. There's no question that he's going to be with her, you know. Which, but I can understand why people say it's harem. I'm not going to complain if you do.
Yeah, it's kind of just its own thing. It's crazy, you know. Again, it's like wow, relationship gets hard settled in like 4, 5 episodes, and yeah, some of these arcs, such as Hitagi Rendezvous, literally dedicated towards a date, and it's like the most wholesome thing ever.
Yeah, and we'll talk about why that arc works, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just kind of dives into the tropes. You know, Nisio likes to do that, a la Madaka Box, but you know, with Senjo Kahara, you know, you can sure whatever call her a tsundere, but just much more than that. You can't really classify these characters into a hard archetype because they just go much more beyond that.
Yeah, I would agree with you because even like Senju, like Shiro, she has tsundere tendencies, but the reasoning behind them is because of her backstory, right?
Yeah,
Um, so it's like most tsunderes, like Rin from Face the Night, it's like she really has no reason to be the way she is because it's like she had like decent parents and stuff, right?
mm-hmm.
She doesn't have to be that sassy, right? So you don't see many of those type of shows really examine why a character is like that dairy type, but Bake is like they're just characters, right? You can put them in little tropes, but it's like they are their own people.
Yeah, and that's really what you need for this kind of show. Again, the stories about just people in general. Yeah, also just kind of playing on things like, you know, for example, Kanbaru. You know, you'd normally put her in the tomboy archetype, but Nisio says like, all right, nope, she's actually a lesbian. It's like, oh wow, you don't actually see those,
On God?
and actually portrayed in a respectful light.
Yeah, like she's like this super sexually active person, right? But like you said, in a respectful way. Like it's you don't see characters like that aren't just kind of just degenerates in a way, right? It's very tastefully done. That's why Kanbaru was. I mean, like I said, all the characters are good in the show. I'm not gonna sit here saying one of them is bad or anything.
Yeah, because you pretty much really can't. They all play their role
Yeah.
super well.
Yeah, because my least favorite is probably Karen, but I still like her as a character. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm gonna complain about her that much.
Yeah, yeah. It's like even with least favorite characters, it's just like you can still find a lot of depth about them.
And they're still likable. Like, who would you say your least favorite character is? Because we're on this little tangent right now. Is it Sukihi? Oh no, it could be Yotsugi.
I don't know. It's really difficult because they all have their highlights. Like I almost could have said that Yoitogi could have been my least favorite until I saw Zoku and she got some points there. I don't know. I might I might have to say, Skihi maybe might be my least favorite girl in the series.
Is it because she's fake?
That's a very clever play. uh, I don't know.
Because yeah, we can't cheat and say someone like
Like episode.
yeah.
or just any of the vampire hunters from Kizu.
How would you feel? Like, you think we could like? Do you like Diane that much?
Oh yeah.
I feel like I want to include her just because we're trying to talk more so about the main cast because Diane does not have an arc dedicated to her or anything. All these characters that we're talking about have at least an arc dedicated to themselves. Because otherwise, it just wouldn't be fair. Because I could just say Diane, but whatever.
I don't even want to do a worst character because Guyan is still really solid. She has that really good.
She knows everything.
Yeah, she has that really good threatening aura.
Yeah.
That you just don't see. Like you're so used to Hanekawa's. I don't know everything. I only know what I know. And then you have Guyan, who was just the much more threatening version of this. It's like, whoa.
I mean, again, like, it goes back to Nishiyoshin of the author kind of coming up with these foils, right? Because Guyan's is the foil to Hanekawa, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of funny because I wouldn't say Oshino has a foil to himself unless you think he does. Because I was going to say, like, the three people, because I guess maybe you can make the argument. What's the third disciple called?
The third disciple? Oh.
So you have Kaiki, Oshino, and
Tadatsuru, I think.
Yeah, because I don't think she has a foil, unless.
No, I'm sorry, not
Tadatsuru.
Kake something. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the one that's Yotsugi's master.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember her name. She was cool though.
She was hot.
Oh well, you know.
She just beat up Araraki.
Yeah, the worst characters. Still not bad because their designs are pretty raw. Like guillotine
Cutter.
Cutter and okay, I can't remember. Dramaturgy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was cool. Was he the one they fought at the end?
No, the one he fought at the end.
What was it?
Kizu was
Guillotine cutter.
Yeah, guillotine cutter.
Yeah, that episode was fun. But yeah, okay. Tangent over. We'll get into the characters later. Kind of another thing I wanted to touch base on, what makes the show special. It's something that we haven't really talked about, which I think goes to just how strong the show is. It's just the directing and art style and animation.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's brilliant. As I was telling you guys earlier, like, name a show that looks like that you can watch that you can describe. This looks like Monogatari.
Okay.
There is it. Even something like Bunny Girl Senpai, which copies takes a lot of influence from Monogatari storytelling wise, doesn't even attempt to like look like it, right?
Yeah, it's like night and days. Like Monogatari definitely has that maybe French New Wave, I suppose, kind of feel. It's just very unique, distinct, it's very clear. And you have Bunny Girl Senpai, which is still a solid show, but it
has like the standard animation, which is fine. Like, it works. I like Bunny Girl Senpai, but it's just kind of funny when you take so much from this great work, but then you don't try to even, we haven't seen anyone copy a show like this. Like, maybe you can argue maybe Yuasa kind of does it with some like Azoken in a weird way, but even then, like, I still think Azoken looks normal in a lot of ways too.
There's just nothing like it.
Maybe some. What's that guy's name? Ikari. The guy that does like Penguin Drum.
Oh, Ikuhara?
Yeah, he's kind of on that level in terms of directing, where I feel like there's a lot of stuff that he puts in like every frame. And there's some weird stuff that happens. But again, he doesn't copy that style of Monogatari. It's just like they're both unique in that sense.
Yeah, at least for Ikuhara. At least from what I've seen in Penguin Drum, I don't think his symbolism is as clean as Monogatari either. So.
Yeah. But yeah, like, it's just so great. And, like, Kizu is probably, like, my favorite anime aesthetic. Like,
yeah.
I just love, like, some movies has a bigger budget, so you expect it to look great. But, like, you know, as fans of Monogatari, it's like most of the seasons all look pretty similar. You know, as the new ones do look better than the older ones, but not by much or anything. Like
Yeah.
Suki looks the best out of all of them, but that's just like a weird exception. I don't know why they went so hard on it.
I got introduced, come out with a banger.
But Kizu like does look different than the other ones, and it has like this beautiful art style to it. Like all the characters look great. I really love what they did with it, and it's like man, those moments where it's like the sun is setting because the sun set at most of the show is this peak vibes right there, man.
Oh man, yeah.
And like I love Kizu. Anyway, we're gonna get into the arcs later soon.
Yeah, you can just, it's just one of those things, almost like Eva, where you can just screenshot anything and you just put it as a portrait. Like, I think the opening to Kizu Monogatari 3, where it's just Araragi sitting down while it's raining, shirtless, while Mei is, you know, right behind him. It's just such a beautiful shot, just seeing all their expressions. It's just
Yeah.
so lively.
And also shout out to this is gonna be for me. This is gonna be my last point about makes Monogatari special. The openings and the soundtrack in general, beautiful.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I love the fact again, like Shaft really did. They went ham for all the Monogatari stuff. Like the openings for every arc besides Shinobu have openings sung by the voice actresses of the characters. They all have pretty much unique art styles and animations for them. They all sound really unique and fit the character. They're all great. Like I don't think there's a bad opening for Monogatari.
Yeah, you just don't see this much
Effort.
love for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
For the soundtrack, definitely is fantastic. Honestly, soundtracks are something that I could just
Vibe with?
vibe, study, listen to at my own time.
Have at like a social like party even like just that chill kind of music.
Oh yeah, yeah, maybe some thinker music.
Yeah, like that's the one thing I noticed a bit more. Like I knew about the openings obviously in Monogatari when I first watched it, but I forgot just how much I loved the soundtrack. Because watching Baki, I was like, you playing this song? Let's fucking go. Kizu also, man, best soundtrack. My hot take. I know that's a hot take. I love the Kizu soundtrack.
No, it's, I don't know if it's a hot take at all. Most people would say that Kizu is kind of just
Peak Monogatari.
yeah, peak, bro. I'd say probably the most would, I don't know about most, but quite a few would say that, you know, Kizu 3 got the most perfect ending, you know, with the best ending theme song to go along with that.
Man, yeah, I can't wait to have our arc right 'cause that's gonna be fun. But and like the voice actors themselves all do a great job. You know, Monogatari is really interesting because it's such a popular anime, but there's no dub for it. You know, no English dub. There's other languages that has dubs in, but there's no English one because you know people were kind of afraid to see like how do you translate that because Nishan Ishan he does a lot of like wordplay in Japanese.
Oh yeah.
And so a lot of people are kind of afraid to like, dub his works, even like, you know, translate them. Like I had the Monogatari light novels, but you know, there's definitely like he's known as an author that does so much wordplay. And you can look at it from even the names of like we talked about like the titles of the arcs. So, you know, when you watch something even subbed, it's like maybe we can only get a true experience if we speak Japanese. I'm joking a little bit when I say that. You know, like I can see the argument for it because there's something about like if you know Japanese, I can definitely see you having a bit more like it's an added bonus, right, for the stuff going on. But yeah, it's excellent. The voice acting is great. Kamiya, my king.
Wait, you said Kamina?
Kamiya, the voice actor for Aragi.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not too well versed on seiyus or voice actors.
Yeah.
But obviously, that man does like he puts his A game towards like everything he does. You know, yeah. I'd say this is probably, could I say it's his best role? Because you know he also did Azaya from Durarara, which is also peak performance.
He also did the guy from Suicide Sensei.
Yeah.
I forgot the
Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei.
Yeah. He did that.
Need to finish that.
He's in Haikyuu.
Really? What character was he?
he's the advisor.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
But yeah, he does a lot of roles. But I mean, I would say Araki is his best performance. I haven't seen Sayonara Sensei, but I've heard people like it, so I'll watch it one day. But I think Araki is so much of a range. It's hard not to make that his, especially like I think Kizu's performance though. 'Cause that's like Araki is his most raw point. Yeah, did you have anything you want to kind of add to what makes it special? Do you feel like we got all the bases covered?
No, I think we tapped on everything, honestly. Plot, characters, audio, visual, kind of just gets it down pat.
Yeah, and then like I said, like there's definitely criticism of Monogatari, which we're kind of going to get into, like for the arcs. Like me and Roger aren't sheep, and we didn't give all of them just tens, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely issues at the yeah. So let's get into the arcs. I feel me and you pretty much we share mostly the same structure. I'll just say what I have, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Oh, okay.
And you can just say if you agree or not. So the way we're gonna do this is we're just gonna do like the broadcast. So second season, I'm not gonna split second season into arcs, unless you want to.
Oh yeah. We gotta split into arcs for sure.
Okay.
I mean, come on, yeah, they're all pretty distinct.
Well, actually, okay. But see, the problem with that though is like Nisei is split into arcs too. Are we gonna do that too then?
Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, I do. Thank you.
Because that's like.
That's what I was saying, man. Like it's like
Yeah,
I don't mind doing it for second season.
When you say arcs, I'm thinking of like the 2 or 3 episodes. I didn't know you meant like seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, because basically I'm just saying, like, I think we both agree that Nisei is the bottom. Or
are we counting like individual arcs too? Like
I think that's why I'm just gonna do. We're just gonna do the seasons then.
Okay.
This to make it simpler for us, because if we really want to, I think what we'll do at the end, we'll just say what our general favorite arcs were.
Okay.
Like individual wise, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I actually redact my statement. Koyomi is the worst one.
Yes. I think it's pretty clear that Koyomi is the worst one.
And Nisha didn't intend it to be like super serious or anything, right? So it's not like
when we say worse, it's not like we're saying it's bad. It was still a very fun watch.
Yeah, it's like it is filler in a way, but it's fun.
Yeah, I can't even say filler when this is Monogatari. So I don't know. There's something great about you're just having a nice punchline to look forward to at the end of the episode. But you can't even say look forward to because you kind of just forget about it because you're just sucked in by the witty dialogue anyway.
Yeah.
Like with Koyomi Stone, you're just kind of getting sidetracked with what's going on until Oshino comes in and calls you stupid.
Like, you guys are just overthinking this. Shut up. Yeah, and it's funny because Koyomi is a pretty entertaining watch, and the ending is like, oh, okay, I see you guy, and you're just gonna kill our boy like that.
Oh yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Those last two episodes are definitely the most
tense,
remembered ones for sure. It's like, yeah, kind of just gets you.
Dude, I love the Nanako episode when she keeps on talking about the snake stuff. I don't know, okay, Nanako.
Yeah,
there's a good lore in all those Koyomi stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like, fortunately, something's got to go last, but at least gotta be that.
Yeah, so Koyomi is just like 10-minute episode stuff of these. The way it's structured is that each episode is like 12 months in Aragi's life, and it starts. The timeline ranges from post Kizu, so like Nekokoro, to Owari. So each episode's a sequential order. So if you watch it, you'll see like how Nekokoro was first, and from there, yeah, like it's just 10 minutes and it's fine. Like, it's the most episodic of all of them. The last two are the only ones that are connected, and yeah, I think we said our piece on Koyomi. But then next I would go Nisei. You can maybe put something else below, but I would go Nisei.
Oh yeah. I do still think Nisei's underrated. Um, Let me just think about this real quick,
Because I would say contenders in general for me were just some of the smaller stuff like Hana and Suki, but I like them better than like Nisei.
Yeah, I think this might just be my personal disagreement. Like I'd say my next
You're gonna say
is
Suki,
gonna
aren't
be
you?
Suki. Like I know visually it's among the best, but
It is the
like,
best. You can't say among. It is the best.
well, Kizu also.
Oh well,
Yeah,
Kizu's a
that's
movie.
on a different bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Suki is just a very strong way to introduce
The third
The-
season.
the third arc, or
Yeah.
and his third season. That's how he calls it. Yeah.
I think it's like the monster season. No, that's like the spin-off. Never mind. And continue.
Something about it. It's still really good. Like it shows, Araragi's kind of been overextending, and now he has to watch himself. But,
Yeah.
Araragi as a character is like he can't do that. So
Yeah.
still a lot of good internal conflict there. I still really like Yoitogi's whole shtick of just being a tool, a doll. Aragi's trying to refute that, saying he sees value in her, but the arc still ends in either you still saved them, but it still ended up the way it was going to, which is a bit tragic.
Yeah, and like the best part of it is just the fact that the arc is about them trying to fight the one spirit guy because he kidnapped Hanakawa and them, and Yotsuki's like, I'm just gonna go boom. You cool with that arc? He's like, no, I'm not. You're a person. Don't do that. And then she does it, and it's like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. And that's why, like, I actually like Suki isn't super high for me. I just remember watching it because I remember watching it when it came out and thinking, this shit looks different. Like,
Oh yeah.
and then I watched it again. I was like, why these guys go so hard on it?
Yeah, like Suki definitely has one of the best introductions to the episode. It's kind of just a literal montage of just him hanging out with Yoitoi with this amazing track in the background.
Yeah, the soundtrack in Suki's also just goated.
Yeah, it's just again.
It was just so visually pleasing and entertaining to watch for me. Where my problem with Nisei is like I like Karen B, but I think it's the weakest arc of all of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can go into Nisei now. I almost put Nisei below Suki. The only reason I can't do that is because
Think Karen's hot?
Kaiki exists. No.
Oh, okay.
I think Karen's a great character, but Kaiki kind of also exists in Karen B, so it just can't be the worst arc for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, I love Kaiki too. We both love him, so I can't be mad. I love the way he challenges Araragi. I love how he's like, the guy that Senju has like this weird history with, but it's just like so much of I feel Nisei is so it's I don't want sometimes like it's funny because I don't know how much credit I should give Nishin Ikshin for making an entire sequel to Bake called after he wrote Bake he wrote Kizu, then he wrote Nisei, but Nisei just means fake in Japanese, right?
Yeah, I don't know, it's hard for me to.
So kind of like the beginning of Nisei is this weird like kind of continuation of Bake, but it's still just weird, like not much is happening.
Oh, I understand. It's definitely a stark contrast, but still, when things start going into play, like I think Kaiki's introduction just couldn't be any more perfect. Like the whole red sky and the crooked tree aesthetic was just so raw.
When you hear that his theme come on, I was like,
yeah, beautiful.
And yeah, like it's a very interesting, and you could argue, well, he intended for the first half of Nisei to be kind of like this weird fakesy thing because it's a fake season. And it's like, okay, I get it, but it's almost like I still find some of the fluff moments are so fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
And they definitely lead to good things. I just feel like it's just And then Tsukiji Phoenix, I like Tsukiji Phoenix because I think it's actually very sweet.
Oh yeah.
Like, the fact that Tsukiki is not really Aragi and Karen's like sibling, but she's faking it, right? Going back to the theme of the season, that's kind of like because Karen's also kind of like faking some stuff too, like her justice and things of that nature. There's a lot of good play in that, which is my favorite things about Nisei. But Tsukiki Phoenix was just really nice. You get introduced to Yotsugi. You get more lore in terms of like who Guyan is and stuff like that. And I thought it was just really fun. And I like, again, the ending to me is like the best part where you see Araragi say, I don't care what you say, she's still my sister. And then Kaiki comes in at the end, doesn't he?
Does he? No, he only comes in at the end for Karen B.
I thought he came at the end because why does Yotsugi and her name leave him? Because I thought Kaiki came in and said, "Hey, something's up. Go away."
No, I don't think that's how it resolved.
Because then how did it resolve? Because we know how she is. She wouldn't just listen to Araragi like that.
I think Araragi was just being plain stubborn, to be honest, and I don't know, maybe
because you know how but you know how she is though. Because she just beats, like, she would beat him up.
Yeah, and she did it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna Wikipedia this. All right, Roger, keep telling you say.
Yeah, I know Kaiki does show up. I don't forget the reason he shows up because it's like he appears in like a donut shop scene, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because Araragi thought he got rid of her, and because Kaiki kind of implied that he helped.
Oh, I mean, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I might have missed it. Might need to rewatch again.
But yeah. So Nisei's is fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think it's a little.
I think I gave it a 6 when I re-ranked it.
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree. I have like a 7.
I think I either give it a 6 or 7. Yeah, I don't think I'd go that harsh for Nisei. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's again. I think it's the most. It's definitely the black sheep when it comes to Monogatari season. It's definitely the most sexually charged. Monogatari is. People who don't watch Monogatari often refer to this season when slandering, specifically for like the toothbrush scene, which I know Nisio's humor can be in poor taste sometimes, but I at least feel like there's some things to the toothbrush scene in regards to like perspectives and Karen's femininity and all that, which they go a lot into it in Zoku Owari Monogatari later. So yeah, there's Nisio. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So we just finished talking about Nisei and Suki. So right now my list is Koyomi, then Nisei, and for Roger it's Koyomi, Suki, Nisei. My third one's actually Hana.
Yeah, I might be starting to change my mind now. I think that Nisei might actually, Suki might be slightly better.
Let's go.
Okay,
Let's
right.
go.
You said Hana's next?
That's for yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So right now I guess it's the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hana is an interesting one. It was originally supposed to be in second season, but Shaft decided to cut it out because it's weird because it's the furthest one in the story by a lot.
Yeah.
And I can understand why they cut it out second season because it would be like if you watch those 26 episodes and Hana takes place in the middle of second season, so it's not like it takes place after it or anything like as the last arc. So it's definitely like a weird one, and I don't mind that they separated it and showed it after second season was over. But it's a very interesting one as we kind of saw second season kind of gave us our first taste of main characters that weren't going to be Araragi, right? With Hanakawa having her own arc where it was just her.
Yeah.
So Hana is kind of like, again, further that, whereas this Kanbru kind of learning to live without Senju and Araragi because they go to college. And it's a pretty interesting one as she kind of like confronts her own past where, her sort of childhood like kind of rival that she's known for a while now is this kind of in a similar position that she was in with the whole like having a the monkey claw and everything and learning to kind of deal with it. I think for me my main problem with Hana was like the pacing. Like it's 5 episodes.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like it could just be 4. Like I felt like there was some slow moments in it, and some of the dramatics are a bit just okay. Like there's nothing peak about Hana. I think that's my biggest complaint. Unless you want to like the ending, I do like it.
I mean, funny enough, I think your complaints with Hana are kind of what I feel about Suki. By the way, it's Suki and then Hana. That's my name, but
So you,
I don't know. For Hana, I thought it was like on first watch. Yeah, I would agree with you. I was pretty disengaged by the length of it for what was contained, but on rewatch, I kind of enjoyed, the little things that were there. I think you and I can both agree that we loved Kaiki's part in there.
I mean, it was definitely unexpected because you see that in the second season, and you're like, what? And they never really explained it, which I still kind of love, but it's funny.
I mean, it's great because Kaiki's a bastard liar.
He's a goat, yeah.
Yeah, it's just perfectly in character.
Yeah, that's like my favorite part of Han is like Kaiki, and he's there, like
how he just outruns Conbrew.
and he has a mustache.
Yeah, and just gotta eat your meat.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd say my piece on Han. Did you want to say anything else about why you like it a bit more than Suki, at least?
Yeah, like I said, I liked Kaiki's part a lot. I think Araragi's. Yes, he looks ugly. Not ugly. He's always beautiful, but I think this is definitely his worst trip.
Yeah.
But he's still set. I really liked his bit at the end, just with him. It was just very. It was like a soothing end to close it off, and Araragi's whole thing. He goes cutting Conbrew's hair. It's like, ooh, character development again.
Yeah, I think maybe I would have liked Hana if it was in like the 3rd season or something, because I feel a lot of like Hana. I almost kind of feel like watching Hana at the actual end before Zoko or something, because I feel there's a lot, since it is chronologically the furthest in the series.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of interested in seeing how it would be like when you watch it literally like at the end of it, instead of kind of finishing it in the middle. But
yeah, it's weird, but I feel like in terms of release order, it works for what it is. Also, personally, I found the main meat of the story quite solid. It's definitely one of the better self-contained stories.
Mm-hmm.
I think the plot twist where she doesn't know she's actually dead was pulled off really strong, and I think it just displays the end of the arc really well. Also, the openings.
A banger?
Pretty good too. Yeah, it's a banger while pretty much showing, the hidden implied details. So, yeah, I liked Hana a lot more on rewatch. So yeah, again for me it's a Koyomi, Nisei, Suki, and then Hana.
Yeah, and then my next one will be Suki. The real reason I like it a bit more, and we kind of talked about this, like Suki's just OD when it comes to the animation and like the presentation and everything.
Yeah, that's
which like it's almost funny because it's almost too out there sometimes. I feel like it was really funny. One of our friends, Anthony, who doesn't really watch much of the Monogatari series. I remember him coming in one time while we were watching Suki. He's like, "This might be a bit too pretentious, right?" Because like I said, Monogatari is such a conversation-based series, and you see how hard these guys are going with the animation in Suki, where it's just Araragi just talking to someone, right? And I can be like, I can kind of understand what you're saying, but to me, Suki is just like, I don't know, it's just very memorable. Like, I remember it coming out like around New Year's time. I remember being really excited to watch it. The setting is winter. It's like it kind of feels New Year's-y in Suki. Yeah. And I just really enjoyed like the messing with expectations with Yutsuki and Araragi. I kind of thought the whole idea that Hanakawa and his sisters got kidnapped was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And I kind of enjoyed seeing how they were gonna like resolve that, especially because, like you said, it's a good introduction to the 3rd season because it kind of showcases how Araragi really, like in third season, he doesn't deal with a lot of people in terms of trying to fix as many issues. It's, Owara's a lot more about fixing himself.
Yes, yes.
So I kind of enjoyed sort of how Yutsuki was like, I know you like being this type of way, but I don't care. I'm just gonna do my own thing, which I really enjoyed. And to me, it's just like it's just a very enjoyable part. The pacing I thought was perfect for it, and like it just didn't feel like my main problems with like Nisei and Hana is like sometimes some of it just felt a little lackadaisical, and to me Suki was like the perfect length, and to me I was never really bored watching it.
Mm.
And the opening for that is also good. I love that opening.
Yeah, I can agree with what you say for the most part. Again, mainly my gripes with Suki Monogatari is it doesn't really hit the emotional highs that Hana does, but
Yes.
it's still like very well crafted. Like it's like Nisei levels of just presentation, but a little more, and it doesn't have like the fluff or let's just say poor taste in humor. It's except for maybe Araragi pulling up Yoitogi's skirt for like a hot minute.
Yeah. Okay, so we got, right now, just to recap again, we got Koyomi, Nisei, and then me and Roger flip flop Hana and Suki. I go Hana and then Suki. He goes Suki and then Hana.
Yeah.
Next for me will be Neko Koro, I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Neko Koro was interesting on first watch because I remember kind of not loving it because it was just weird. Like, I remember thinking, like, why am I watching this almost? Like, we're getting more background Hanakawa cool, I guess. But, once I rewatched it, with the context of Kizu, and me also just paying more attention to Bake, I was like, oh, this is kind of goated, though.
Oh yeah. It's definitely very powerful for sure.
And, it just tells a tale of Hanakawa shortly after the events of Kizu, where she kind of loses it and really becomes frustrated about her, like, parental situation. And, to me, this is like, you have the trilogy of Hanakawa, right? You have Neko Koro, Neko Shiro, and Tsubasa Cat? No, Tiger?
Yeah.
So to me, it was just really like, this is the prologue in a way, or Act 1, and it hits all the points that it needs to. The second part does everything it needs to, and the third part does all of that it needs to. And I feel the first part just establishes everything you really need to know about her character, more of what she is, and kind of like her relationship with Araragi, and kind of why she enjoys being with him so much. And it's just, again, like, it's bittersweet in a lot of ways too.
Yeah, it's definitely what makes this arc so unique is just how dark it is. I'd say it's definitely one of the harder hitting arcs for sure. Didn't pick up the first time, but second viewing, with extra context, it kind of just hits different.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's like,
because you hear like some situations, like when you hear like Senju's and Bake, you're like, oh, that's kind of bad. But then like that kind of happened in the past, and you kind of see how she gets used to it. And like with Hanakawa, it's like, she has parents that aren't her parents, and that don't like her, right?
yeah.
And she's like living in like a hallway or whatever,
Yeah, the way it resolves it, it's that again very sweet, but it's still pretty sad because especially at the end where they say they like quote unquote hate each other, but you could take that at face value, but there's just so many meanings behind that line, depending on the context that you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And also like just starting from the opening conversation between him and Skihi, you can kind of get a general feeling of what this arc's gonna be about. They're talking about love, and you can already tell right off the bat that Araragi, he kind of just sees Hanakawa just more sexually.
Yeah, I mean,
which kind of just goes into like the whole superficiality into it all. Just his way of viewing Hanakawa as this ideal, perfect being, and that's how this arc just follows.
Yeah, and it's just really interesting because it's like, you see how he feels about Hanakawa, and when Sugihi like asks him like, what do you like about her? He's like, oops, right? It's like, oh, okay, man. And is this kind of like really just prevalent in their relationship? And again, like Neko Kuro is like, I think to me it's way better watching it if you pay attention to Bake and then you see Kizu. I feel like if you don't see Kizu, I can understand why it's not as exciting to watch. Because I think there's some interest in like seeing, because she references Neko Kuro a lot in Bake, or at least Oshino does, and so to me it's like interesting when you see what they actually deal with in Kuro and Kizu, because he's prevalent in both those arcs a lot.
True.
Okay, I think we're ready to move on to the next one.
Yeah,
Okay, let's see. We have the same one in mind.
I'm good.
Oh,
Well, because what do we have left? We have Kizu, the two Owari seasons, and Bake, right?
and Zoko.
Oh, right.
Was
I'm
I-
gonna go with Owari season 1 next.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah, because
it's-
season 1 is Sodachi and Ugi, right? That's it.
Yeah. No. Season 1 is.
It's Sodachi
Yeah, it's Sodachi.
and Ugi. It's Ascent Dark.
No, it's Shinobu, the Shinobu thing.
No, that's season 2.
No, it's.
Owari season 1 starts off with them in the classroom.
Yeah.
So
That's
the Oogie-
first 6 episodes is the Sodachi. Okay, yes. Episode 1 is
The classroom.
which is Oogie, and then
Then it's Sodachi.
Sodachi, and then the whole Shinobu
That's the
servant thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to clear that up.
So again, I guess that shows you how much we love Owari.
Yeah, which we do. Common opinion, but yes, the first half of Owari season 1 is really, really good. I think it's peak Monogatari.
I would agree. I think Sodachi is a wonderful, wonderful character, and I love really just. I think it's so brilliant. Owari season 2 and 1 work so well as a pair because of the theme of really Aragi bettering himself, and Sodachi's such a great start where it's like, this is the girl that Aragi lost, that he failed.
Yeah.
Right? And seeing that resentment and seeing how mad she is, and Aragi trying to help her out was this really cool.
Yeah, it really is. What I really like about this arc is it just shows like how chained Araragi is. Like, this is not an easy situation to resolve. This is just something that's been repressed within him. I know some people might not like how, what was it, Ugi and Hanekawa were like pressuring Araragi to come up with an answer for, it's like this and that and this and that, and Araragi's like, I get it, but he's still running away from the truth.
Yeah, and like once you know what Ugi is, I mean, it makes a lot of sense why he acts the way he does.
Yeah, for sure. It's just Ugi's just such a good antagonist in general.
Yeah, and the first half I think is just great. Sodachi's story is really compelling. I like how it doesn't really have a happy ending. She just leaves and that's it.
Yeah, it's just it was a pretty good send off to close it off. It just didn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, and then Shinobu stuff at the end, I always forget happens because I got like Owari season 1 was the last one I remember watching weekly, and even then, like when we're gonna rewatch, I remember asking. So I know in Owari, that's when Sodachi gets introduced. What happens after?
Yeah, I know that the second half of Owari is definitely not as good, but it's
not
good.
bad. I still like it. Like
Yeah.
I think that them resolving the situation she has with the samurai is really smart.
Oh yeah.
And I still enjoy it. It's just like, I think it's weird because, a lot of people kind of meme Shinobu's moments in Monogatari besides Kizu.
Yeah.
Because they're always like info dumps, it almost feels like. But I kind of really enjoy that send off, and it works well with, her arc that she had in second season.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of cute, like seeing, Araragi and her former, partner for the most part, kind of meet each other and like just talk it out. I thought it was really entertaining.
Yeah. Also, just the last episode. Oh, I mean, like the climax, just to close it off, was really good.
Mhm.
Also, very powerful stuff. I really love Araragi's monologue at the end. I don't know. Aragi's monologues and Shinobu arcs just always hit, man.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, that and let's see. There was one more highlight I want to touch on. Or maybe not highlight, low light. The arc's just way too long. It's 6 episodes.
Yeah. Like, honestly, the parts I remember in that arc are when Kamaru and Araragi first meet the samurai guy.
Yeah.
Because Kamaru tries to fight him. He's like, oh, on God. And then I remember the samurai guy becoming kind of handsome. He became like a weirdo character. He became like a human form.
Yeah.
And then Nanako wasn't in that arc, right?
Nope.
Hanakawa, was she in that arc?
Nope. It's Kanburu.
That was it?
Yeah.
Did Yoshiki help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There.
Yoshiki was here. But yeah, like, that was it. And then, like, obviously the ending, I remember.
One more highlight for the Sodachi arc. If you want to know peak voice acting, just go to Sodachi's breakdown. Like, she just hits like pure just rage, like both seething, quiet, and then just
Yeah, it's wonderful.
all out. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. Like, Owari Season 1 is good, has some really cool highlights. Again, the second half of it is just, it has cool moments. The lowlights aren't as bad, but still, it could have been a little bit shorter.
Yeah, for sure. That's just my main gripes with it.
So, what, Zoko next?
Let's see. We have Bake, War, Sex Seasons. Yeah, Zoka next.
Yeah, Zoko is like the epilogue, and it's kind of, an interesting one because, War Season 2, I think, ends pretty perfectly in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice having this little treat in Zoko, and this really cool what-if scenario where the theme of this show is like, okay, Araki saved all these girls and done all this stuff with them, but what happens if we mirror them? So, he enters the mirror world, and he sees all these different versions of the people that he saved. So, like, Hajikuji's this adult person that's really, like, energetic and it's a god. That's not a lost nail, right? Like, everyone knows who Hajikuji is, right?
Yeah.
You have Sodachi, who lives with Araragi, who she, in this timeline, Araragi saved her, right? And now they're like, they're kind of like a sibling. Karen is a bit more just a regular girl for the most part, right? And Suki, she didn't change, right? She was still the same.
Yeah, because that's just who she is.
Yeah. Hanakawa was just Black Hanakawa the entire time because she just got mad. And then Kanbaru was also just mad all the time.
Yeah, she was just the rainy devil in there.
Yeah, because she just succumbed to her powers. And, it was just like a really fun arc. Like, I remember really having a lot of fun with Zoko just because those what-if scenarios were really cute because, you get such a great climax of Season 2 of War and you kind of think, like, what else can he do? And then you watch Zoko because I didn't really read much about what it was going to be, the story was going to be about.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it was going to be mirror versions of themselves. And I was like, oh, this is kind of dope. It was very fresh watching it.
Oh, yes, it's definitely a joyride, but it kind of just hits all the right notes because I think it's also just such an easy to breeze watch. Like, the theming is just really clear. You can definitely tell what Nisio is trying to go for. In fact, it's just a nice way to kind of go. It's just a very nice roundabout. Like, even I forgot about some things. Like, I think the one that actually interested me the most was like Karen's situation. Like, I forget her femininity complex. I think they touched on that pretty well. It's like, oh wow, I kind of just got glossed over it.
And Nadeko being very aggressive and brash was hilarious. Yeah, I agree with you. One of my favorite moments about it is the fact that Senju didn't have a version of herself because
which was ironically touching.
Yeah, because like to Araragi, like Senju was a person that saved herself for the most part, and you can kind of see how much he like really genuinely loves her. He doesn't think of a what if situation with her, right? Like, what if I did this differently or whatever, which I think is just again very touching and very telling of like Aragi's loyalty to her too, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, Zoko, like it's just a perfect consistency of just being a nice ride.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, there's nothing insanely high about it, but it's just a really comfy ride.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect epilogue. Just,
Yeah. Like, if you were gonna end a way to, like, if you wanted to do one more little season of Monogatari, this is like the perfect thing to do.
yeah.
Okay, so we got War season 2, second season in Bake. War season 2? Question mark? Oh, and Kizu. I still would go War season 2.
Yeah. I'd probably go a lot with Hawaii season 2 as well.
Yeah. You can start off this one.
Yeah, so I was just trying to get my thoughts together.
Okay.
It's
I mean-
at this point we're kind of just getting into peak Monogatari because there's almost no issues. I have almost no issues with
I mean,
Hawaii's second
yeah, if anyone has
season.
issues with the second season, just fight me.
Yeah, it's pretty tough because like
Like, it starts off as a banger, right? You have, like, the nice little date with, it starts off
no,
with
my-
Hachikuji.
yeah, it starts off with Hachikuji, which okay maybe it's the weakest of the three, but still like really good.
And
like,
it's still,
also,
yeah.
like the audio visuals are like complete peak performance.
Yeah, and it's just very nice and touching too, because it's like, you don't think you're gonna see Hajikuji again really be like have a prominent role. So it was really great seeing her in that way, and it's funny too because it's like
Yeah.
if you didn't see Koyomi, it'd be kind of weird like going to start a War season 2, you're like, why is he in hell? But it's really like I still like the beginning quite a bit actually, and then like the hints with we're finally gonna figure out who Oogie is, right, after all these seasons of wondering who the fuck is this character, and then when you get the big reveal that it's just Araragi, you're like you just kind of like you just nut a little bit, and you're like, oh shit, and then when fucking Oshino came back, I double nutted.
Yes. Ooh. Yeah, and Hanekawa.
And then Aragi's like, I can only save myself. I'm like, please stop. I
Yeah.
can't keep doing this.
Yeah, that was just pure 3 goated episodes, but don't let that distract you from the other 2 arcs, which are also
Itagi
amazing.
Rendezvous.
Itagi Rendezvous is just the
Plus?
most wholesome thing ever. It is. Love Senjo man. Yeah,
This is
I don't
very
know. Honestly, if we talk about the other ones, I think second season might actually be a little higher, but so it's kind of sad putting it here, but still really good.
like you can make an argument with me that Bake could be at the spot, and I wouldn't kill you.
Yeah.
I like Bake a lot, and that was gonna be my next one. So,
Yeah, we could move on to Bake,
but yeah, War season 2, like I would say it has the second highest peaks. I think second season for me has the highest peak.
oh yeah.
But Awari is just those 3 moments that we just talked about at the end are so goddamn good. It's crazy.
Yeah. Mm.
It's just weird because like Bake I don't think has that, but it's so consistently good and so well directed, right?
Oh yeah.
And then Kizu is this peak Monogatari. I don't have any complaints with it. Like I don't know. It just becomes, I think, at that point, just preference where you kind of rank the last 3 or last 4.
Yeah.
'Cause
Stuff. Actually,
I feel like maybe, I don't know, like I think it's fair for us to put Bake next because without Bake's existence, a lot of what makes Awari season 2, some of those go-to moments are kind of lost if Bake wasn't as good.
Oh yeah.
That's the only reason I would put it above just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna knock on Bake. We can go to that next because it's just the perfect starter. Everything is just so refined. You got 5 characters and they're all fleshed out.
They're all like pretty unique
Well.
too.
Yeah.
And you have all these you have this nice range of like pretty serious troubles to less serious troubles, and it's interesting just seeing how everything unfolds. And it's a perfect introductory, like you said, where if you watch the Senju Gahara Hitagi Crab arc in the beginning and you don't like it, you're not gonna like Monogatari, right?
Yeah.
And if you do, you're just gonna get rewarded with like the stuff we've been talking about in Warrior season 2. I think it's kind of fitting having the last, quote unquote, really big story one, the first story one, kind of like back to back, because Hitagi Crab's really good. Tsubasa Cat, what can we say about that?
Yeah, it's just kind of packed with
Like Nadako Snake is still really entertaining. Kangaroo Monkey, that was this devil, right? What was Kangaroo's called? Monkey Devil?
uh, is it maybe.
Yeah, and then Hajikuji Snail. I mean, all of them are just really entertaining, and they're all just perfect introductions to each of those characters and the problems that they have. And again, Baki, I think the brilliance that it has, that thing again kind of makes me put it in the above Awar and some of the others. Is just the directing is so good. Like watching it is so fun and entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Like it's almost weird for me. I remember watching Baki when I rewatched it, and I kind of was thinking, is there been anything better directed than this? And then I watched Kizu. I was like, okay, maybe Kizu is,
Yeah.
but it still to me stood the test of time. Where I was just incredibly impressed by the directing in the first Baki because it's the first one.
Bake, I think it's just gonna be one of those animes like Eva where it's just timeless.
Yeah, so
It's just timeless. Like I was thinking maybe there might be some lowlights, but there really kind of isn't. Like
yeah,
I thought maybe
maybe
Hachikuji Snail was maybe a little behind the pack, but until I realized that it still has some really strong peaks, like
yeah.
the moment when you realize that Senjo Gahara can't actually
See
see
Hachikuji.
Hachikuji is like that's still a very powerful moment.
Yeah, and also just seeing like it again kind of just shows you like how much Araragi is just so loyal and so like relentless, right, in helping these people out, right? Like he doesn't really get why Senju kind of like helps him out because like they're dating and stuff, but you can tell she's not like all the way into it, especially because the fact that she can't even see her, right? Yeah. And Aragi's like, just I have to take this girl home. You have a mom and stuff like that, and it's just very sweet, like seeing him go that extra mile, especially when you're in this very weird situation where you can technically never get back home. Yeah, Baki is just so good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like
every episode is just in the right place and it ends up perfectly with Tsubasa Cat, but also before that there's a nice breather with Senjo Kahara dating.
Yeah.
Even what's considered the weakest arc, Nautical Snake, is still pretty solid because it already gets into Araragi's whole saving complex. Like I really like the whole bit where he's still upset that the whole thing got resolved by the snakes going back to to bite the other kids. Is like normally we wouldn't give a damn, or most other protagonists, but Araragi, he's just different.
He was mad about it. I mean Baki to me is just the king of consistency. It's just a better Zoko in a lot of ways, and that to me is like why I just put it above that, and even Awari season 2, because there's so much that it establishes and does in the first season that it's kind of insane when you think about like how much it really does for this series.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just so clean.
Okay.
Yeah. After that, we only have 2 left, right? We just have
Kizu in second season.
Fuck.
I'm going Kizu.
I kind of got to think about this. Might be a coin toss, man. I mean, actually, yeah, let's go with Kizu next. Yeah, Koyomi Vampire.
Yeah, so, Kizu was the long-awaited one. It was supposed to be out, in the light novel, it comes out second. In the anime, it came out, like, fifth. Shaft just kept on tinkering with them. People are like, why is it taking so long? And then you watch, you're like, oh, I get why it took so long. Because it's fucking beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm still, like, I remember being so blown away when I first watched it. Because I was just like, okay, let's see what Kizu is. But I'm excited to watch it. Because I only seen the posters. I never saw any trailers or anything for it. So I know they would, like, change up the look. And the first scene is, like, Araragi waking up, leaving the room, and getting on fire. And you're like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then you see, like, the art style, how it's a little bit, different. And you see, like, this, like we talked about before, with Kizu's, like, the perfect vibes exist in that.
Oh, yeah. It's just, it is the definitive best looking anime I have ever seen. Outside maybe End of Eva, but it's like, woo!
Yeah, it is.
It's like, the character designs are so good. Hanekawa looks so hot. Araragi looks so great. Oshino looks so badass.
Shinobu looks hot.
Everyone looks hot.
Yeah. Even Episode.
Yeah, even episode, that bastard.
Yeah, and it has a perfect setup to the story. Is pretty simple, right? Aragi finds Shinobu wounded. He's like, "What the fuck do I do?" And it's great because we know Aragi is a character from Bake being this guy that's the opposite of that, right?
Yeah.
As soon as he sees someone in trouble, he just goes for them. And so this being the first point chronologically, and this telling Aragi kind of like origin story, it was almost awesome just seeing him become the character that he becomes in Baki in future arcs, right?
Yeah.
And I really love like you see how his relationship with Shinobu forms because we haven't really talked about Shinobu that much, throughout this really ranking, but she's such an important character to Araragi, and their relationship is a lot of like what makes the show also click,
Yeah.
right? And it also explains why Shinobu acted the way she did in Bake, right? So it's really great seeing that. And, the first movie focuses kind of on Aragi becoming a vampire and meeting Oshino. Second one's the best movie, I would say.
Yeah, the third movie should be the best in terms of emotional resonance. It is a perfect closer, especially with the ending monologue, cut to credits, beautiful music. But I would say that I
think
personally like part two the most.
Yeah, it would fit the most as a movie.
Yeah.
Right. You had this pretty simple structure of okay, this movie is going to be Aragi fighting the three guys, and him kind of training a bit with Shinobu. You see Shinobu progressively throughout, the hacks of the movie become older as she gets more of her powers back, and it's just such a it was very entertaining, had really great moments. The battles were all really fun to watch, and really just like I remember I loved like the last battle where Aragi just went sicko mode. He's like, "Yo, you trying to touch my girl? You can't do that."
Ooh. Yeah, so much for Guillotine Cutter.
And it was great actually knowing who Guillotine Cutter was.
Yeah, all those references in Nisei.
We're like, who the fuck are these guys? Watch the second season. Whose episode? Who is this guy? Yeah, and then the third movie, I mean, that ending fight with him and Shinobu was so good.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, that end where you see, like, that change in Aragi's mind where, she's like, you can just kill me. I just want to die. And Aragi's like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, just perfect. Translates to, I think Kizu means scar. So these are just two scarred people. And now they just gotta live with each other. And then, if you ever rewatch Baki again, now when you see Shinobu
Being sad.
It's like, oh.
You get it. Because she just wanted to die.
Yeah.
And again, watching Kizu just gives you so much, and there's so much appreciation too of like that relationship evolving, right? You see it in Nisei, and then you see it just continuously go up from there all the way up to like the thing we talked about in Noir season 1.
Oh yeah.
Is the end of Kizu or Janeko Koro or Aragi was like I can never date Hanakawa? That's Koro, right?
That's Koro, yeah.
Yeah, but Kizu was still really great in terms of like seeing that relationship bloom. It was kind of funny seeing how Hanakawa interacted with Aragi at first.
Yeah, that was just, I thought it was the weirdest relationship. It's like, why do so much for Aragi, but until everything kind of just connects together. It's like, yeah.
Best scene though is when Aragi is like, "Can I touch your boobs?" to Hanakawa. And he doesn't
I'm
do
pretty
it.
sure most people hate that scene. So it ended up.
I mean, the best animated scene in the entire movie.
Absolutely.
Do you hate that scene? I think it's funny.
No, I don't hate it. It's definitely very funny. Everyone's just I'm pretty sure most people just want to see those two fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like me and Roger can't say enough good things about Kizu because everything about that movie is like what we said, peak Monogatari.
Yeah.
I just think the peak, like Monogatari has a lot of peaks to it.
Yeah.
And my only qualm with it is that Owari season 2 and second season to me have better, higher peaks.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's hard to really have super high peaks if you're just the beginning of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because we know what's really going to happen here. We know that Aragi became a vampire with Shinobu. We didn't know how that happened. But it just adds so much. And again, it's such a great experience as a movie. It's almost crazy.
God. Yeah, it's so good. Honestly,
And the soundtrack is so good.
I might switch on my rankings.
But
I don't know, I'm just gonna switch Zoku. Not Zoku. Second season in Bake, because I think the peaks are starting to hit a little more. But yeah, Monogatari second season. Yeah, I think
Best
we
one?
can agree that's the best season.
yeah, like I love this season a lot too because this is the season I got caught up in Monogatari. So I remember watching Neko Shiro on Daisuke or something. It was like a streaming service that was just for Monogatari, and I remember being so pumped and being like, "Wait, why is Hanakawa the main character in this first episode? What's going on here?" And then slowly falling in love with it, loving the moment where Aragi just comes in with a fucking sword and he's like, "Sup?"
So raw. I think, yeah, it pains me to say this, but yes, that is the best rejection scene of all time.
Ah,
It really stings, but it's also
it's so
it's
perfect.
also the perfect fitting ending.
Yeah.
It's only the way it could have ended.
Yeah,
Even Araragi, God, when he's like,
I know.
I'm, it's like I'm happy you said that, but yeah.
I'm out. Yeah, like I don't even know where to. Okay, let's start with the bad second season. The Shinobu arc's the worst arc,
Yeah, that's commonly agreed.
and it's
exposition.
it's funny. Like it's cool because learning more about Shinobu in terms of her backstory was fun. Again, felt like an info dump, especially with the slideshows. But
Yeah, still very beautiful looking scroll. It's still decently directed. It's still very strong.
and it does set up for Wari season 1, so it has a purpose to it.
But it does balance out by the last episode, which made most people cry. I'm sure unless you know why.
Hajikuji saying
Yeah, it's like, yes, you had that info dump, but you also have this peak scene here.
Yeah, and that peak scene's wonderful, and then the other arcs are like we said, like Tsubasa, so good, like the perfect conclusion to her character arc, and her really like becoming one with herself and becoming confident about what she is and expressing her own opinions. That when Araki comes down, she's like, "I love you." He's like, "No, it's so good because it just releases everything that you've been seeing from the past arcs of that relationship." And the fact that she did it without Aragi too, right? Like Aragi, the only thing he did was like help her to like that one time. Like she figured everything else out.
Yeah, again, can only save herself.
And
that's arc is just a 10 out of 10. Oh, it's so
the Hajikuji time travel arc was really fun.
yeah, it's definitely one of the. It's not. I can't even say it's a low light, but yeah, it is.
It's
The
a
weaker
mid-light.
one of the weaker ones. It's still really fun though. Yes, we love adult Hachikuji. Yeah, we love the seeing an alternate universe of Kiss Shot. We loved this whole whole zombie scenario.
And I think a lot of what makes that thing great too is like when you see Kizu, you get so much of that relationship with him and Shinobu, and just seeing that like how it went from Shinobu being just a sad girl that hated Araragi for not killing her to literally not even being okay without him in the world is just really cool seeing that dichotomy, right? And seeing a Hajikuji fight those zombies and stuff like that was just like a really fun arc. It was again another like perfect arc for kind of what season 2 was going for, especially because it was kind of airing around summer, and it's like, why would we just go back in time, guys?
I also love the little touch with Senjo Gahara where Oshino is like, hey, in this world, you're still dating Senjo Gahara. And it's like, oh wow, those two really were meant for each other.
Yeah.
It just wasn't out of a whim.
Yeah. So yeah, that arc is good. I think we're about to get to the two GOAT arcs in Monogatari now.
Not
Nanako
Medusa.
Medusa and
yeah.
Hitagi again.
Yeah, that's a.
Oh my god.
Actually, they go hand in hand.
And they do. They're sequels.
Yeah. Oh man.
Man, I remember.
Yeah, because beforehand, pretty sure everyone would put Nadeko as their least favorite Monogatari character.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one kind of just flips it all around.
Yeah, like this is where Nation Nations is just genius.
Yeah.
Like you always kind of see Nadeko as this kind of like not cringy character, but you kind of just feel bad for her
Yeah.
because she
Yeah.
obviously loves Araragi, but you know she doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, you think she's just like this generic moe blob.
And then you see the scene in Nisei where she like plays strip Twister with them.
Oh my god.
And you're kind of like, what is happening here? But then you get a little hint like, don't look at my closet, don't look at it. And then you see Naruto Medusa being this such a genius arc where it's like, God, I love this arc so much. Where it's like, she gets a snake guy, and the snake guy is like, hey, what's going on here? You trying to act nice around these people? You shouldn't be doing that. You're a queen.
Oh yeah.
Go after these guys. And Naruto just looking at her, Bryce, and be like, yeah, you right, Snake, you right. And then just her doing everything that she does, really like getting Guy in Seal, going berserk, going sicko mode, being like, alright, fuck you for not liking me. I'm just gonna kill you, bro.
Ooh.
Like one of the best scenes is obviously when she flips out in the school. She's like, everyone shut the fuck up.
That's such a good scene.
And then like the entire conception of the arc too, where Araga's like, Nanako, who are you talking to? You're talking to your bracelet. She's like, wait, I'm talking to a snake though. But she wasn't, because it was a lie.
Alright.
And
I think it's also the arc that just makes the best use of the whole unreliable narrator.
yeah, because Nanako's going crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, it's so wonderful. I remember watching it again, because I knew I was going to like the arc. This and Itagi End were already my favorite arcs in the series.
Yeah.
And so watching it again, I was like, I even got more out of it. I was like, fuck, man, this is so good. And like the opening theme too is so nice.
Oh yeah, Nautica openings are definitely
OD.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah, and the way the ending is so shocking, right? Where she just fucking again, she just goes to berserker mode, right?
Yeah, stabs him 11 times.
And you're like, what? Shinobu comes out like, don't you dare.
Oh yeah, Shinobi gets bodied. Senjo Kahara comes through.
Sandra Harley's like, hey, give us, hey, can you wait till graduation, please? And I'd be like, dumb bitch, sure.
Yeah. Woo.
And then we get into Itagi-en.
Yeah, this
This
is both. Yeah, this is our favorite arc. It's peak Monogatari.
Like,
Yeah, like
it's kind of funny in a way how the two peak arcs in Monogatari, at least I think for both of us, don't even have Araragi as a main character in it.
yeah,
It is funny.
it's like common debate. It's like who's the best Monogatari character, Araragi or Kaiki? I personally, and
I think
honestly,
Araragi is the best character. I think it's hard to argue against that.
Yeah.
With all the development he gets.
Yeah, but Kaiki, he just won our hearts here.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was so... Dude, I remember watching this when it first came out. I was like, wait, is Kaiki about to become the main character for this arc? That's my boy. Are we really about to see this? Is this about to be the most goated arc of all time?
Yeah, like the literal best part of Nisei, and now he's the main character. Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
I fucking the intro where Senju Gahara's like, hey, meet me at the airport. He's like, sure, why not? Meet me at the diner, wear something different. He has like the Hawaiian shirt on and everything.
It's such a perfect scene. Every scene in there is just great.
Yeah,
From
like-
that to the whole investigating.
Him meeting Oogie.
Oh yeah, devious Oogie was there. Woo.
Yeah, Oogie's the one that fucking gave Nanako's like, hey, Kaien seal though. Wink, wink. And like, the best part, I mean, Kaiki's the main character, right? That's like the best part of
Oh, yeah.
Itagi-en. And it's so perfect because, Senju Gahara, she had such a weird relationship with Kaiki where Kaiki was the only person before Aragi that tried to save her. She just was a sham. But a lot of like what made Kaiki, Kaiki is such a complex character where he's a con man, but these characters he does care about. He wanted to help Senju Gahara, he just couldn't, right? And he doesn't, he does bad things. I mean, he tricked middle schoolers. He kind of let that dog go down this trail, right? Believing in these stories and stuff just for money. And, Araki hates him because they're both the foils of each other, right? So Hitagi knows that. Hitagi knows that Araki can't solve Nanako, which is, again, another building part of the arc. is the fact that Araki can't save her. Right? This is like the first person you see in the entire series where he can't do anything.
Oh yeah.
And so her going to the foil of him, Kaiki, like, hey, dude, you got this for me though? And Kaiki be like, you got money though? And she's like, yeah, I got money. And then, he does it, and the way he does it is brilliant.
You just love to see the flip flop to where Kaiki, where they can only save certain people. Araragi, he was able to save, well, not really save, but he was able to help out Senjo Gahara. Like, he was able to finish that off, and like, Kaiki was able to help Nadeko.
Yeah.
And I just love that whole dynamic, that dichotomy. Also, I just love those. You're expecting like the biggest climax after all this called Hitagi End, and you have the big boss Nadeko. She was hyping this up to be one really big battle, and then it just ends in the most perfect way ever.
Hey, I saw you draw manga?
Yeah, I was like, I wish I could record my reaction to that for the first time.
Yeah, and it's so great too, because you see, when Kaiki's doing the investigation, he starts talking to Nadeko. He's like, oh, this bitch simple, man. This is gonna be easy money. And then he goes and, he tries to still get some information. He goes in and he's like, oh shit, this is what's in her closet. Oh, okay. And then, he's trying to like tell, like, oh yeah, Hitagi, you're dead, bro. Get out. What are you doing here? He's like, ha ha ha, die, you're lying. The guy's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Didn't expect this to happen.
Nadeko is definitely one of the best antagonists out there. It's just scary. She's unpredictable. Like, even a brilliant man like Kaiki, he lost. He almost lost.
He was going to die if he didn't know the manga.
Yeah. That was his only ticket out of it, so thankfully that man's good off the dome, but still.
Yeah, like, again, this just shows you how good that arc is, because, Naruto represents a lot of, like, that dangerous and craziness of, like, being that middle school, high school age, right? Of being so unpredictable and eccentric, but also worrying about the craziest things. Like, she could have just killed all these people, got her revenge and everything, but Kaiki said, oh, your manga's pretty interesting. He's like, wait, what? And just gets embarrassed by it, right? And then you see this notion of, like, how Kaiki is able to save her, right? Where Araki could have never done what Kaiki did there. He would never have just gone to Nadeko's room, just went in the house, lied to her parents, and then checked out the closet.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's respectful. He's not going to do that kind of stuff, especially if Nadeko says no, right? And the fact that, like, you kind of see in a lot of ways the way Araki saves people, he kind of does it in this way of, he tries to make them save themselves in a lot of ways, right? But he also kind of aids them and pushes them in the right direction, right? And you see Kaiki just be like, yeah, keep up with the manga. You're kind of good. I don't care. He's like, don't worry about these guys. Just do you, baby. And it's kind of like, it's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, best arc for sure.
Like,
second season. Yep, I'm pretty comfortable putting it.
It's just
at the
so
top.
good. Like, it's crazy. It's just stacked. And, for those wondering, how if our list would change much if we broke up second season, it would change a little bit. But, I mean, Hitagi and Nadeko Mujiza, to me, would still be, like, the top arcs. Like, I don't think they're not.
Oh, yeah, there's literally 3 10 out of 10 arcs in there, so.
Yeah, so it's just, again, the perfect conclusion. And, I think it's really wonderful. Like, I really love second season because I like the idea of the first season of Monogatari being, Bake, Kizu, Neko, being this sort of story that establishes Araragi, some of the other characters. Second season, you take a foot off the brakes, you see these other characters shine more, right? Aragi's not the main character a lot in second season. And then we go back to the third season where we kind of focus back on our boy again, and him concluding his arc.
Yeah. God, just love that story structure.
And then...
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I have no more words to say on second season. It's just...
Yeah, Hitagi ends opening also
amazing.
Oh, yeah. Kaiki singing, oh gosh.
Yeah, Kaiki singing is just hilarious, but also just so soothing to the ear for some reason.
Yeah.
Love the visuals too. It just
Yeah.
plays perfectly into the arc.
Is Araragi and Shameless? This character never got an opening.
I guess so.
Yeah, and I think the next thing we can kind of talk about, even though we kind of talked about it during our arc rankings, is this kind of shouting out some of our favorite characters. I mean, like we said, Kaiki is probably my favorite character in the show. Is he yours? I'm pretty sure he is.
He's my favorite character. I don't know. It's like I have like three favorites. I have
Kaiki.
Nadeko, Hanekawa, then Kaiki. I wouldn't even know how to order it, but I guess if I really had to choose, I'd probably say, I'd actually have Hanekawa as my favorite Monogatari character, actually.
That's fair. I think I would go. Kaiki is like definitely my favorite character because ever since Nisei, I was like, this is my guy, and he's always been that. Like, I saw more of Monogatari where I got to see Araragi's entire story complete. So there's just more out there, but Kaiki would never change. I'd go Hanekawa and then Araragi. I just love those two a lot, and I think I just like Awari season 2 where Araragi like realized like Ugi is like the manifestation of kind of like his what ifs and his angry side. I thought was just brilliant.
Oh yeah.
And him dealing with that, so good. In terms, I guess we can maybe like also talk about like your favorite openings. Do you have a favorite opening?
I'd say Renai Circulation, but in terms of what I think is the best opening, that would probably also be
Hitagi.
Nadeko's second opening.
Okay. I would. My favorite opening is still Hitagi End's
Yeah.
opening, but the Nadeko ones are like 2 and 3.
And I'm not gonna knock because again, that's like Hitagi Ends has my third favorite opening.
Yeah. And
Yeah, for ending theme, I think Baku's the best. So
I would agree with you. I remember some of the endings. I don't remember all of them that well. They were good though. Some of them.
Woo.
They at least look cool. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
And in terms of what else we got, I guess a question we maybe could end it off is like, if I have the light novels now and I'm kind of interested in reading it. How do you think you'd like reading them? Because it's definitely be a different experience.
Yes, it's definitely gonna be a different experience. I think Monogatari as a story is so strong that it can pretty much like translate to any medium and still be a very solid story. Albeit it's, I feel like you might get the value of it is still gonna change. Like I think. I can't even say if it's a good adaptation or not. I can say it's a good anime, but I don't know how good it's gonna be from the light novel. So it's definitely interesting to see its origins. I also know there's a ongoing manga for it as well, and the art just looks out of this world. So
Yeah.
it just seems like Monogatari just gets so much love no matter the medium.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm kind of excited for is that America, they're about to publish Zoko Owari, and the anime hasn't done. So Monogatari Line was actually continued. There's a monster season, which is kind of this interesting idea where Nation Ishii is basically doing these kind of like side stories with some of the characters, like Nadeko gets one, I think Yatsuki gets one. They're kind of like pseudo sequel kind of character stories about these people, and I'm really interested in reading those if they ever translate them, which they haven't announced yet. But I hope they do because I'd be really interested in reading those because there's no anime for it, and there might be one. There's a lot of people that say Shaft is definitely interested in the series and still loves it, and I'd be down to watch more. Monster season sounds really appealing to me, and there is the final third season of Monogatari now. I don't think it's final. I think it's called Monogatari third season or something, where it actually follows Araragi in college, and it's either that or like he's older and he's like a cop or something. But he's like in college or something. It's him older.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so all I know is keep on going, and he's still writing them. So I hope Shaft either adapts them or we get them in America because I would love to consume them. Especially because we've seen so many great peaks. I just don't think Nishan kind of a genius, right? I don't think he's gonna write bad stories.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think he has a very solid track record. You know, even with his weird taste of humor, he can still create one of the best peaks in just any manga in general,
Yeah.
or just peak fiction.
Yeah. So I think overall that's gonna be it for us. Just to kind of reiterate our list for the arcs for Monogatari, where mine list was Koyomi, Nisei, Hana, Suki, uh, Zoko. Do we have Zoko after that?
No, Wari season 1.
Okay, War season 1, then Zoko. Yes.
Yeah, and then you had Awari season 2, Bake, and then
Kizu in second season.
yeah, and my list was Koyomi, Nisei, Suki, and then Hana,
Yeah.
Neko, Kuro.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we saw the same position.
Yeah, Neko, Kuro, followed by Owari season 1, Zoku, Owari Monogatari, Bake Monogatari, Owari season 2, and then Kizu Monogatari, and then just second season.
Yeah, and you know we did spoil a lot in this, so if you haven't seen it yet, you know don't listen to this podcast, I guess. But
Yeah, too late.
but yeah, like we both we said you know we sung its praise pretty much throughout this entire pod. So you know if it sounded remotely interesting, I mean check it out if you don't care about spoilers, or maybe wait a week, you might forget them and then watch it because this show is, I think, so great and will stand the test of time too. Like I think it's timeless. I think it's fair to say. And you know it'll always be one of my favorites because there's so many great moments, and I actually really consider like where it is in my top 10. Like I would probably maybe have it between like the 8.5-ish range for me probably. Because there aren't many things I don't like about it.
Yeah. I mean, at least for me, I've after finishing Zoku Owari Monogatari, I can confidently say it's in my top 7. Because you know, after that, kind of has to compete with the likes of Eva and Hunter x Hunter. That's just gonna be a pretty tough task, but nonetheless, it's still one of my favorite experiences in the medium. Just very rewarding. You know, 50 plus episodes of goodness and 3 peak movies. Just can't go wrong with it. So again, I hope you're not listening to this having not watched Monogatari yet.
Yeah, Anthony.
Oh no.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being on, Roger. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's nice having myself here. So
Yeah, and I know he's doing stuff for their Studio Creme, our little thing we got going on, Cremecast. Eventually, we'll have some podcasts out there if you want to hear more of his takes on stuff.
yeah, we'll be working on that. Also, most of our boys are gonna be streaming, so clearing myself. So
Check out the streams.
yeah, some support there.
And yeah, I think we're gonna have you on for the hentai episode.
Oh boy.
So that should be. I'm fucking pumped for the hentai episode.
Yeah, I know I'll have my pieces to say.
And yeah, I think we'll definitely have you on more. I love talking to you. I know Mia also likes talking to you. So maybe I'll invite her for the Roger talk next time. You know, we'll see. Yeah, that's it for the Mimicast. You know, this is Milesh. I'm signing off.
All right, Roger signing off as well. Thanks for having us.